Hello and welcome to The Movies, the show where we talk about the movies that make us who we are. On today's show, we have...
Billy.
Yes.
Shooter Billy.
Shooter Billy. Right, okay. So what films have you got for us today?
Okay, I've come in prepared.
Ooh.
Adam told me that I would be picking 5 films, so I had a think. Okay, 5 films that maybe are slightly different. They all had different impacts on me. Okay, so the first one I've picked is a little known film called Spirited Away.
Oh, Spirited Away, Studio Ghibli.
Yes,
Or
that's
Ghibli,
the
it's a
one.
controversial issue. Alright, so why have you picked this film as your first pick? Why have you chosen it?
I've put it as the first one because I feel like it's probably the one that most people who will listen to this, and Adam himself probably has seen.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
I have.
Yeah.
I have seen it, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's one that is a core one that people have probably seen in their childhood.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it until I was about 12, actually. I wish I'd seen it younger, but since having children, I've forced it upon them, so that's okay.
That's what having children's all about. Force movies on them.
Exactly.
Yeah. No. So why do you feel this film is like so important to you specifically?
I think it just came at a time when I was, so like I say, I must have been about 12, maybe 13, secondary school, bit of a, year 7, moving from childhood. I did air quotes, by the way, but you can't see that. To it was meant to be older, secondary school, but I was trying to kind of almost cling on to a bit of childhood a bit still, and it's got that magic in it that just makes you want to be a child again. It's beautiful, and then I discovered all the other Ghibli films through that, but that one's always remained my staple one that has everything in it.
Yeah, because I know My Neighbor Totoro and stuff like that. Yeah, they're quite good. So this would be your favourite of the Studio Ghibli films that you've seen? Would you count it as that?
Yeah. I have now seen, I think all of them. There's maybe 2 or 3 I haven't that are from all the directors that aren't Hayao Miyazaki and Isao Takahata.
The big ones.
The big 2, but this still remains my favourite. I just think scope, animation, emotion.
The world building in it especially is really good. Yeah, just sucks you into it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Weird visuals as well with the pigs and stuff like that.
Yeah. In a way, it was kind of good to watch it at that age because I do feel like maybe if I did sit a bit younger, it would maybe traumatise me because there are some parts.
That's what you want in a film, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's you can argue that children want to be traumatised. I mean, look at films made in the 70s and 80s, like kids' films, Watership Down and stuff like that. There's a part that I think people want to make children's films that are not only beautiful and family friendly, but also have a bit of scare.
Yeah, they want them impactful. Yeah. Make the kids poo themselves in the cinema. That's
Exactly, and that's why I showed my kids it.
Okay. I think. Is there anything else you want to say about Spirited Away?
No, not really. Like I say, at that time in my life, it was it was impactful. I was very into Japan.
Yeah.
So I was kind of getting everything I could about the country, and that was just a great way. It's got that traditional Japanese part of it, with the sliding doors and the onsens and the stuff like that. But also it was modern as well, especially at the start when they first discovered the place. So it just had everything about the place. It made me really want to go to Japan, and I still haven't been. So if I do eventually go, then it'll be down for this movie.
This is one thing that I think is interesting about Studio Ghibli films. Did you watch the dubbed version or are you subtitled? Because this is a big debate with these type of films.
Well, being 12 years old, I was not going to watch a Japanese language one. So yes, I originally watched it in English language, and I've just not been able to take myself away from that. If I watch a new anime now, if I'm introducing myself to something different, Cowboy Bebop or something like that, I will always try and watch the Japanese language one. But because I've watched this and they are kind of for children, I've stuck with the American one. I think the performances in it are amazing, and all the Studio Ghibli ones, because I think they was distributed by Disney. When it came to like the Western countries, they got amazing casts.
Yeah.
So all of the dubbed ones are always amazing. It's when you get to other animes where dubs can be a bit difficult.
Oh yeah, the famous ones. Yeah. A lot of the Jackie Chan ones, they've got terrible dubbing.
Yeah,
It's hilarious.
Well, with Spirited Away, I did try actually. I did watch it once in Japanese, but I just couldn't. It just wasn't the performances for me. I had to go back to my English. Sorry guys.
Okay, what is your second pick?
Okay, so second one is kind of a complete different kind of, well, not age range, but a different period of filmmaking, and I've picked It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life, classic Christmas themed, isn't it?
Yeah. So we're getting to that period.
Yeah.
Although it's funny, really, because if you actually, when you watch the film, there's maybe about 20% of it is in Christmas.
It's like
time.
the end is Christmas, and that's
the beginning and the end, whereas the whole of the rest of it is just following this guy's life.
Yeah.
And I just think it's just an absolute. It's very similar to Spirited Away in the way that it's got that kind of loveliness about it. It's cheerful, but also has some sad moments in as well. It's got kind of all range of human emotions, but overall it's just a loving film.
Yeah, it's an emotional rollercoaster, but the end is certainly one that's really heartwarming.
Yeah,
it's the big Christmas spirit film.
Yeah,
it's like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And that's one that people don't argue about, because my favourite Christmas movie, which is a very controversial pick, can you guess what it is?
Die Hard.
It's Die Hard. It's my favourite Christmas movie. I was like, you only pick it for attention. I've got the poster on the wall. I love Die Hard.
It is a great film. It's a great film.
Back to It's a Wonderful Life. Sorry, I got distracted there. Why is it important to you? Again, is it like another seminal film in your childhood, like Spirited Away? Or?
Well, this is why it's kind of opposite, really, because it's only in the past year that it's gone all the way up to the top of my favourites. I watched it for the first time probably 10 years ago, and it was good.
Yeah,
I liked it, but it wasn't one that I was like, oh my god, this is unbelievable. It's making me feel all these emotions. And then recently I've watched it, the past couple of Christmases maybe, and I do think it's down to maybe just the time of my life right now. I've got 2 children, 10-year-old and 8-year-old. It's very dependent on that kind of family. I mean, the main character, Jimmy Stewart, has a family, and he's like, he gets depressed and whatever. And I feel like now is kind of that time of my life where I've watched it, and I mean, especially last year, I watched it last year, and just so many parts of it, I burst out crying, and then I was just overwhelmingly happy with it, and it just made me, love my family at Christmas time. I mean, I love my family all the time. I just want to clarify that.
Just specifically at Christmas.
But at Christmas time, it just completely brought that Christmas spirit that people always spoke about. I never got it.
Yeah.
I never got it until a couple of years ago, and then now I've watched it the past couple of years. It's way up there.
I think you have to it's almost like you have to appreciate life, because then you more feel what Jimmy Stewart's going through.
Yeah, definitely. And unfortunately, sometimes you can't get that until you've experienced life yourself. Yeah. So now that I've had 10 years of it, of since I first watched it, and I've had the children and I've had the house and stuff like that, I'm at that point in my life where that it really strikes a chord.
Yeah. Just speaks to you.
Yeah.
So would that be a film that, because I didn't ask this in Spirited Away, but I might go back at the end and ask it again. But would you watch that on your own, or do you prefer to watch it with others? What's your...
I would love to watch it with others, but my wife and children would not watch it.
It's great. Are they one of those black and white deniers?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I cannot stand people like that.
But last year I did watch it with my mum.
Yeah.
She obviously was the one who kind of introduced me to it all them years ago anyway. But it was on it that Christmas period, the week running up to it. We were at her house, wasn't doing anything. It came on telly, and I just couldn't turn away from it. And we were both kind of simultaneously crying well, specifically at the beginning. If you've seen it, there's a scene where the guy he works for almost poisons a kid, and then Jimmy Stewart's character has to go and rescue this kid, and then he kind of gets harassed. He gets beaten up by the guy, and it's just so emotional, and you feel so sorry for the kid. But then obviously at the end, when everything was resolved, I was crying then as well, and we were just that was that experience together. So that was nice. But I watch it on my own. I'm not afraid to watch it with people. I'll cry with other people. I don't mind.
Yeah, I think once we've done them all, we'll get a ranking. So far, what would you say? Would you say Spirited Away better, or would you say Wonderful Life?
At the minute, It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life.
Is above. But again, that's recently.
Yeah.
Spirited Away's been up there for the past 10 years, and it's just being pipped, isn't it, by It's a Wonderful Life? So it's clearly showing something of where I am in life.
Yeah. Okay. So, no, not second pick. Third. I'm losing track of myself. Third pick.
Okay. Third film I've picked to talk about is one that I actually showed the students a few weeks ago, and to a 50-50 crowd, is Call Me by Your Name. I think it's absolutely gorgeous, not only visually but just in that romantic sense, where it's, you know, unrequited love, and it's young, and it's that early stage of your life where you first get the feelings and the butterflies and the will they, won't they's, on top of the fact that it's set in the most beautiful place in the world. It's almost like not even a real place. I attempted to visit it this summer, and I only managed a couple of the spots, but a lot of them are quite secluded, so you can't really get to, and they're not open to the public. But yeah, it's just a beautiful film.
I think it's because I thought he was on about Blade Runner.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's. Yeah, I haven't put it in the 5, but it's definitely obviously what.
It's not. Oh, okay, right. Yeah, because the thing is, I kind of have to disagree. I disagree with you a little bit. I appreciated it on a visual quality. I thought it was really good storytelling, and the dad's monologue at the end that was proper tearjerker.
Yeah, that's very nice.
There are some things that don't need to be put on 35mm film. And I think a man having intimate relationships with a peach is certainly not one of them. But that's just my feelings. I'm not here to object to any of your picks. They're your picks. It's entirely about why they're important to you, not about me. So shut up, Adam. So right. Same question. So why do you feel this film is so important to you?
Well, I always keep saying in my time, you know, at the time of life I watched this. Yeah. But there wasn't really a specific moment for this one. I watched it I actually watched it when it first came out, which I believe was 2017.
Yeah.
I've been waiting to watch it. I'd heard really good reviews. I finally managed to stream it on some undisclosed website. And it was a really bad. Well, it wasn't a bad copy, but the connection was so bad that every couple of seconds it would freeze and then carry on. But I was so adamant on watching it that we sat all the way through, me and my girlfriend, and I loved it. I wasn't overwhelmed by it or anything, but it was up there. You know, it was very good. And then it kind of became a bit of a meme. It was, you know, a lot of Letterboxd users were rating it, and it was just all over the place, really. I ended up buying it on Blu-ray because it was still being talked about. And I rewatched it, and then it was just, I think me and my girlfriend rewatched it about 3 or 4 times, like a day after each other. I think it was during summer as well, so it's got that summer feeling. It's got
that seasonal quality.
Yeah, you know. Whereas It's Wonderful Life's Christmas, this is summer. You know, this is what I want my summer to be like. I would love to be in Italy in a brick paved swimming pool playing volleyball. You know, it's absolutely, you know, hearing the crickets and the cicadas or whatever they are, like. That's one half that just is beautiful about it, and then you've got the romantic story that I think is romantic, but apparently some of my students are very against it.
Some people are ejected for age reasons. Sorry, when you said volleyball, I just got flashbacks to Top Gun. But it's certainly like I feel like if it was summer, but no, it wasn't. It was like the tail end of summer when we first watched it. So it was sort of having that thinking about summer. But it was definitely you definitely appreciate how beautiful it's shot is really well. Like the weather is it's almost like it is picturesque.
Yeah. Which you know can add on to your point about 35mm. I think it's a perfect film to be shot on 35mm because it is trying to establish that 80s connection. One of the students, when they all came to watch it, said he didn't even realise it was not made in the 80s until about halfway through when he clicked on the link and it said made in 2017 or whatever. He thought it was genuinely a 1980s film. So it's obviously trying to replicate that, but also that just adds to the kind of hazy, nostalgic, romantic quality that it's going for. you know, you're supposed to almost, I feel, supposed to be in Elio's shoes and remember what it was like to be a 17-year-old falling in love with an older person and experiencing that for the first time. You know, whether good or bad, you know, yes, there are, it is controversial, of course it is, but that's like, that happens in life. And that's why I think it's an important watch and why I showed it.
Yeah.
You know, because I don't think film should be black and white. It should be, this is a bad person, this is a good person. It's, it is maybe a bit of a dodgy subject, but unfortunately that's life and it happens and people get into them kind of relationships and, you know, it may have happened to someone and they look back on it in 30 years' time and think, oh, what a nostalgic moment that was.
Yeah.
You know?
I do definitely feel like it's not one that I, like, because some films, if they're so bad, you're like, oh, I regret watching that. It's definitely not one that I would ever class as that, just like purely because there are some really, like, amazing moments that, like, touch me as someone who's not really a huge fan of the movie. But yeah, it's just incredibly well made, like, definitely. So, right, so we've got Spirited Away, A Wonderful Life, Now Call Me By Your Name. So what is your fourth pick?
Okay, so I'm going left field now.
Oh,
okay.
More left
Okay.
field.
So I've gone for a film called The Devils.
The
okay.
Devils.
I believe it was made in 1971 by a British director called Ken Russell. He's a very controversial director. He makes films, you know, he was kind of counteracting against that British season of films that came out in the 60s, that kind of kitchen sink drama, which are amazing, but he wanted to show that British directors could also amp up on the surrealism and on the oddness. And so he made some quite controversial films, violence, sex, most of them are 18
All the good
rated.
stuff.
And so this film called The Devils is about a priest who I think it's actually slightly based on a true story. I think the film itself is based on a book by Aldous Huxley, I think, called The Devils of Loudon, I think it's called. I'm genuinely not researching this right now. This is all off my own head.
Well done.
But I think he based that book on a real event in medieval France where there was a priest who was kind of going around being a bit naughty with all the nuns and you know, clearly not following his godly, you know, duties. And I think it sent the nuns a bit crazy because they were kind of being, from a modern perspective, they were being a bit gaslit. They were being a bit, you know, it was a very sexist society. They were expected to not do all these things, and yet he was going around, you know, frolicking with whoever he liked and breaking the rules. Yeah.
So because I, when you said it, I immediately thought of like The Devil Rides Out and stuff like that. So is it like sort of that sort of same canon of films, like?
It is, but you know, it's not a Hammer film like that. So it's not quite not that Hammer films are exploitation, but it's not. It's definitely more art housey.
Yeah, more classy.
So not that there's an issue with Hammer, you know, schlock. I love them, but this is kind of different in where it's very, you know, it's about, yes, it's got some gruesome things. It's got some, you know, a lot of explicit sex and stuff like that. But it's also about the kind of psychology of the character. There's no like supernatural elements in it or anything. It's genuinely just this priest who just kind of gets his comeuppance in a way. Well, probably too far.
So would it be a horror film you would class it as?
I think it is classed as a horror film.
Yeah.
I just because of its content, it's quite grisly.
Yeah.
But it's not particularly scary. It's just horror because it's like quite just dark. It's quite grim.
Yeah.
But also it's kind of, it makes me laugh, like in that way. Not in the, I mean, you know, almost like in a way when you watch a Saw film.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, this is ridiculous and it's like laughable. It's almost like that, but in a, I can't believe this guy's making this film. Like, this is insane. You know, it's just jaw dropping. And again, you know, if we want to speak about my experiences with it personally again, that was a big one for me because I was at uni at the time studying film. And every Monday they would, our lecturers would show a film, kind of like what we do here at Film Friday. But theirs was optional. This one isn't.
It's not.
And yeah, so if you wanted to, you'd go to their cinema screening of a classic film that one of the tutors had picked. They had a British season where they'd try and show British films, and on Halloween nights, this is what they chose to show. I'd heard about it before. They had also managed to find kind of a long lost copy of it, where there was a deleted scene, an infamous deleted scene, featuring some kind of out of their wits nuns doing stuff to a statue of Jesus Christ.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
You can see why it was deleted. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite explicit.
Yeah.
The copy they found was clearly a different resolution to the rest of the film. Because it had maybe just been resurfaced somewhere, so you could clearly tell where the scene entered, and then it went to DVD quality and then back to Blu-ray quality after. But I just remember watching that with a couple of my university friends, and my jaw was just on the floor. And there was one of my university friends isn't particularly into them kind of artsy kind of films, is more into straight laced films or whatever. I just remember at the end turning to him, mouth wide open. I was like, I can't believe what I was just seeing. And he was kind of like, yeah, neither can I. It was awful. And I was like, no, it was not. It was insane. Yeah. It was, it was balls to the wall. It just kept going and shocking me, and it's amazing.
Oh, good. I'll have to put that on my watch list. Yeah.
Just don't watch it with your parents.
Yeah, make sure it's maybe on Halloween then.
Yeah.
Okay. I forgot to do it with Call Me By Your Name, but how would you rank your films so far?
Okay, so including The Devils now.
Yeah.
I would still put It's a Wonderful Life at top. Mm-hmm. Then I would put Spirited Away. Mm-hmm. Then I would... Well, actually, they're in order. Then I would put Call Me By Your Name, and then I'd put The Devils.
In order.
Yeah.
Have you done that on purpose?
I don't know.
Maybe the last one will shake up the order a bit.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
Okay.
But yeah, at the minute, it is 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay. The last, but certainly not least.
Okay.
Final pick?
My final pick is a little ditty called 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oi! We've entered film school.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is there to say about this film that hasn't been said, I suppose?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose I can speak about my experience with it. So again, it was...
So why is it important to you specifically?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of them where I watched it during uni. It was kind of like, yeah, this is great. Nothing major, but I understand the appeal. Yeah. I think I may have watched it with my brother, and he was very much like, what the hell was that? It's so boring, Yeah. I knew it wasn't boring, but I didn't get that, overwhelmingness yet. Yeah. And then a couple of months later, I think I told, while me and my friends at uni were kind of exploring different films and stuff, I think I said, why don't we come round mine and watch 2001? I'd happily watch it again, because there's a lot to process in it.
Yeah.
So I watched that with him, and then it kind of turned into this is another level. And we just ended up just discussing it forever. What does the ending mean? Again, it's that shocking element. I was just watching it like, how has he done this? How has the director made this? And then you think about the timing as well. I mean, compare this to The Devils as well. That was 71. 2001: Space Odyssey 68, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
They were only just putting people on the moon, and yet they're making these films that I could not even gather how they did the visual effects for, it's just the concept, just the idea in general. The 2001 to me is higher, it gave me that feeling that I was like, this is more than a film. Yeah. This is philosophy and life all rolled into one, especially that ending. Yeah. The kind of famous ending where, I can't even begin to explain it.
No, you can't.
Especially with that, I was kind of like, okay, film should be like this.
Yeah. It's interesting your story on it because it kind of mirrors some of my own experiences. Because I watched it with my dad because I bought it on DVD because I'd heard so much about it. Everyone goes on about it, so I was like, all right, I'll watch it then. And it wasn't on any streaming at the time anyway. So I bought the DVD and I watched it with my dad, and I really loved it. I certainly really liked it at the time. And then my dad was like, "What was that all about? You know, what is boring and everything like that." And then weirdly enough, like a few months or maybe even it was like a year and half a year, something like that. It was like, that film 2001: A Space Odyssey. I want to watch it, like how long the impact was. And I was quite fortunate actually because I had the opportunity to go and see it at the cinema.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I saw it at the Prince Charles Cinema. I think in April last year. I think. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
So it was great. It was like a despecialized edition. So I think they used the original print because it was like really grainy and everything like that. So yeah, it's definitely definitely one that a lot of people say you'd see it at the cinema because I think that really because it's a very orchestral movie. Obviously there's the whole soundtrack all the way through, the Blue Danube and stuff like that, and it's just incredible because the screen surrounds you, everything surrounds you, so you just feel so immersed in the film, and it is such an immersive film. Like from the moment you start, because it starts with the dawn of man. If you haven't seen it, what are you doing with your life? If you're on this course and you haven't seen it, what are you doing? Go do something else. I'm joking, of course. But yeah. I've lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, Dawn of Man. Yeah, even from the moment you're there, you feel like you're one of the because the way it's shot, especially, it's always everything in the Dawn of Man. Anyway, everything is in shot. You got your mise en scene, everything's there, and it builds a whole world in that frame, and you feel like you're there when the monolith because you feel the same sense of shock and everything. I just think it's one of I almost describe it as a perfect movie. I can't think of anything that's wrong with it. The acting is amazing. Even HAL 9000, one of the most terrifying villains, and he never moves. He's a voice on a computer. And it's crazy. It's just
and
so good.
I love the idea that's the kind of most. That's the kind of that part of the film is kind of the most not basic, but that's where you get your here's the good guy, here's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Let's destroy this, but then it goes further. Do you know what I mean? So it has that. It does have a plot in the middle.
Yeah.
This is our characters. They are in space. They are talking to this artificial intelligence slightly smarter than them. He ends up turning evil or whatever. Then they have to dismantle him. But then it doesn't end there. That's where your normal film would probably end. Yeah. It goes, where to next? And it's almost, and then it's just, it just goes through all form of existence, life, philosophy, everything, and speaking of the start, this is a thing that people need to just, get in the same headspace, obviously, as us two, is when they criticise nothing happens for the first part, it's just music and but you should be happy with that anyway, because it's beautiful, imagine this is, it's real and you're seeing space, that's what he's trying to do. I could watch that part for hours. You are literally in that environment, and it doesn't need action to be happening for you to feel see the spaceship just going across the stars and just playing the music. I can't imagine what it'd be like to see in cinema. I'd love to do it.
Also, it's got one of the world's best jump cuts ever. Is that plane flying into the air? It's so good they even had to reference it in Barbie.
Yeah.
That opening scene. Yeah. I mean, most of you have seen Barbie because Barbie was huge.
Yeah.
But that's what the opening comes from. And I was like, what the hell is this weird opening? It's 2001: A Space Odyssey. Watch it if you haven't. Okay. So where is that going? Is it going to shake up the list or is it going to?
2001 is going.
God, fingers crossed.
At number 2. Oh. Yes. Yeah, 2001's been my number 1 spot for many years now. And it wasn't until, like I say, the past, maybe even year, when I rewatched It's a Wonderful Life, and I thought, I think this says more about me than 2001 does. Now, 2001's still, second fauvorite of all time. But, at that stage of my life, I was very much into the, not otherworldly, but the the universe and philosophy and existence and stuff. You're in that type of part of your life where you're thinking about, like I say, philosophy and life and what is the deeper meaning. And now I'm at the age where I'm kind of on the philosophy length of It's a Wonderful Life, where it's okay. This is family. This is love. This is stuff like that. So that's why I would put It's a Wonderful Life as number one right now.
I think I don't need to ask my question about 2001 because we've already sort of talked about it, haven't we? But I can definitely see, because obviously for me I prefer 2001. But I can 100% see why that It's a Wonderful Life makes a more personal connection to someone than something like 2001.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we've got all the films on the table. We've got 2001. We've got Spirited Away. We've got It's a Wonderful Life. We've got The Devils, and we've got Call Me by Your Name. So if you had to choose one of these films for everybody, and I mean literally everyone in the world to see, no matter which one would it be? I have got other questions if it's over two different ones.
I think it would be It's a Wonderful Life.
Really?
Just because that's what I want. That's what I would want people to be like. Do you know what I mean? If I was in control, if I was a great dictator of the world, I would want my people to behave like he does in It's a Wonderful Life. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I would love, obviously, everyone in the world should watch 2001, and it should make you question life and existence and space and stars and everything like that. But I think on a personal level, I would much rather everyone have seen It's a Wonderful Life, because I'm hoping it would break open a few cold-hearted people. It would, some people, I think now, especially in this day and age, well, I don't want to go too political, but in the political landscape of nowadays, I think people just need a bit more heart.
I think people could do with a bit of warmth.
Yeah, and I think It's a Wonderful Life will provide that.
Sorry, when you said that you want everyone to be like Jimmy Stewart, I just imagined everyone running around, Mr. Parr.
That's mine too. He's a beautiful man.
Everyone had that voice. Yeah. Okay. So which one of the? Because I think we've already mentioned it with one of the films, and it was. Would you rather watch all of these films on your own, or would you rather watch them all with others?
Okay. Yeah. I mean, obviously, we mentioned it's a Wonderful Life. I think 2001 I'd rather watch alone.
Really?
Yeah, because I would be too preoccupied with, what are they thinking of this? What do they think? Because I'm fully aware of people going, boring. Or, of people going, no, not for me. And that would just bother me. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So, whereas It's a Wonderful Life, it's nice to I think everyone would be in the same emotional level. We'd probably all cry. It's beautiful. Whereas 2001, if we all watched it, about 50% of people would be like, Jesus, boring.
It's quite a polarising film.
Yeah, exactly. So I would rather just watch that by myself, have my existential thoughts by myself, and that's fine.
Have your own crisis and cry over because I feel that, especially if you ever show a film to someone else. Like when I did it, because I showed Reservoir Dogs I was just constantly what are they thinking now? What are they thinking? And I do get quite judgmental when it's a film I love and someone's like, that was terrible. Why?
It's hard. It's hard to take.
Yeah, it is.
Everyone's different.
When it's one of your favourites, it certainly is hard to take. Has your relationship with any of these films changed over the years?
Well, yeah, I mean, probably the biggest one. I mean, Spirited Away hasn't.
Yeah.
Always, immediately since I watched it and to now. That is the most consistent one on this list. That has completely been, 5 stars all the way through. Amazing.
Yeah.
The biggest one is probably It's a Wonderful Life. Like I say, the first time I watched it, it was, this is cute. No, it's not really a Christmas film though. Okay, yeah, I get it. Very nice. Yeah, cute.
Yeah.
And now I watch it at this stage of my life. It's just, it wasn't even on one of my favourite lists, and now it's top just because of the emotions it gives me. And, and I don't want it to be like, it's kind of cheated back because it makes you cry. That doesn't mean, it's quite easy to do that. There is a lot of films that cheaply make you cry, but it's not about that. It's the philosophy and the way of life it's trying to almost promote. And every aspect of the film is trying to be as loving as it can.
Yeah.
Everything in it is come from a place of love, and then it all wraps up in that ending, and I just think it's just absolutely wonderful. So yeah, maybe I was a bit more cold-hearted back then, but I'm not now.
Like the audiences at the time, because It's a Wonderful Life, as you probably might already know, might not know, it was a flop when it came out. People
Was it really?
Yeah, critics didn't like it, audience didn't like it, just over. But I think it stuck with a lot of people, certainly in their like zeitgeist, because now it's like, you know, classic. Everyone's like, oh yeah, Christmas movie of all time. Whatever.
I mean, to be fair, yeah, it's got a good advantage because people will just pull it out at Christmas anyway.
Yeah.
You know, because people like to have a situational film, like I said about Call Me By Your Name in the summer and this at Christmas. So people have given it that second chance, like I've done, you know, and they've gone 10 years later, oh, actually, this is blooming beautiful.
Yeah. So would you, because I feel like you've already answered my question, because it's been It's a Wonderful Life for the podcast so far. Sorry. Would you say that had the most long-lasting impact on you then? It's a Wonderful Life, or because although you said you'd only seen it in recent years, didn't you? Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's changed in recent years. Yeah. So I only rewatched it a couple of years ago, whereas I'd only watched it once before that. No, long-lasting. I would say Spirited Away, because every time I go back to it, I find something new. I find something exciting. Like out of all these films, I've watched that one the most.
Yeah.
Which actually, really, I should say, you know, it's quite a range of films, as in what I've rewatched within this list. For example, The Devils, I've actually only seen once.
Really?
That time at university.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't rewatched it, but just that initial reaction was enough to go, boom, this needs to go up there. Yeah. I probably should rewatch it.
Yeah.
And in fact, actually, when I was really into 2001, I think I watched it 2 days in a row, and then I attempted to watch it a third day, and it did actually, like it did actually kind of ruin the experience.
Really?
I was kind of like, not really. I actually don't really want to watch this. So I'm more worried that if I rewatched something like that too many times, it would spoil it for me. So I'm happy with The Devils in 2001 being up there, even though, 2001 I've seen 4 times maybe, and The Devils only once. I'm almost like, well, I don't want to watch them again. I'm fine with it because of that initial experience. Whereas Spirited Away, every bloody month I would love to watch it, because it's, you know, it's just lovely and exciting, and so much stuff happens in it as well. So much. Yeah. It's like there's different sections. It's almost like a video game. Yeah. It's like there's an Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, Act 4. Like they're in the bathhouse, and now she's at the witch's house. Yeah. Now, you know, it's so there's so much to take in on it that I could watch that endlessly. So that's probably the one that I've had the longest lasting impact. Yeah.
Nice, good choice. I think that's all. I think we're all done here now. If you've got anything else to say on any of the films, anything you'd like to miss off?
No, I've said everything I wanted to speak about. I think we've had really good discussions. Yeah.
Oh, all right then.
Over to you.
I'd like to say goodbye from everyone here at the movies. Myself and Billy.
Goodbye.
Literally it. All right. Goodbye.